All right, shalom, shalom. Get straight into this lesson. But I was flowing through the spirit and I came across this article here. I was like, man, it's heavy. But I'm gonna get into this lesson. I'm gonna play some of this video, and then we're gonna get into this lesson in 1 second.
Christmas is less than a week away, and whether or not you celebrate the holiday, no doubt at some point you have seen an image of Christ. In fact, some of the depictions of Jesus most familiar to Americans were created right here in Chicago. Here's the story on the Art Beat. Do you recognize this man? His name is Warner Sallman. In 1924, the Art Institute of Chicago graduate and commercial artist created this image now called Head of Christ. It is on exhibit in the Billy Graham Center at Wheaton College. Mr. Sallman did about over 500 oils, and he did pastels, he did chalks, he did landscapes, he did portraits, but he's best known for the Head of Christ. He had done other things prior to 1924, but he was a volunteer director of art for what was then called the Covenant Companion. It was a youth magazine for the Evangelical Covenant Church. And he, Mr. Sallman, had to come up with something for that February issue. Struggling to create an image for his deadline, Sallman says he fell asleep and the vision of Christ came. He drew the image and called it Son of Man. It was first drawn in charcoal and later an oil painting on canvas with a white background. But Sallman's most famous Christ painting was done in 1940. He depicts Jesus illuminated over a brown background. Sallman entitled it Head of Christ.
Warner Sallman, although he's not a well-known name in either art circles or even church circles, has contributed so substantially to the church language, especially in the 20th century. These are images that many of us are familiar with, but we don't associate with Sallman's name. We've seen it in Bibles, on prayer or memorial cards. We've seen it hanging on walls.
Sallman's Head of Christ received unexpected popularity. It's estimated that it's been copied more than 500 billion times. The Evangelical Covenant Church hired him to present chalk talks of his Christ image in schools and churches throughout the country. The Head of Christ became iconic and known as the American Jesus. He was just a part of the whole Protestantism, and the Catholic Church too. He did portraits for First Methodist Church in downtown Chicago. Here you see he had his picture on the cover of Christian Life. Here you see on the cover of the Covenant Companion, April 21st, 1967.
All right, you see what it is. Man, this a very important video right here. You know what I'm saying? Going into this devil. Let me show you who he is, man. But, that's why the spirit was put back on us to wake our people up and show them the truth. And it's obvious that all this stuff is a fabrication. It's nothing but a lie. It was created by the so-called white man. That's why we tell you he's the devil. We're not just saying that because it sounds catchy. No, he's the deceiver. All right, this is God Warner Sallman. It says Warner, this devil right here. Right, Edomite. And let's see how now we seen how they was able to orchestrate and push this stuff, propel this stuff out the United States from the four corners of the world. But they had already did this with the image of Cesare Borgia. So this will be that same image, but done in a different way, right? So the first image by the Roman Catholic Church that they pushed was Cesare Borgia, a so-called white man. And now this the image that they took that image and revised the image into this. So some people, but it still go back to so-called white supremacy, right? And you see all this was created, and this is why people been praying and bow down to idols, right? And it's obvious it is what it is. But this is nothing new for this devil. This the book of First Maccabees 3:48, and laid open the book of the law. What's the book of the law? The Bible. It's compelled of the patriarchs out of the Bible: King David, King Solomon, Daniel, Jeremiah, the prophets, all right, so on and so forth. Where the heathen, who is the so-called, who is the heathen, the so-called white man, right? Edom. has sought to paint the likeness of their images. Like this, like I just showed you. It's heavy because this how this devil came up. Salakia. This devil came up with this image right here that they put in all this literature that they push and promote in these Christian churches, whether it be Methodist, whether it be Baptist, whether it be Presbyterian, whether it be Lutheran, whether it be Calvinism, whether it be Seventh-day Adventist. This was pushed and promoted through the four corners of the earth, right? This image, right? And it's the same likeness of Cesare Borgia, the so-called white man. This is what pushes so-called white supremacy. And this don't line up with the scriptures. This is nothing but a lie. All right, let's go back here. Let's go to this likeness. So let me show you the difference. So this Cesare Borgia, the image that was painted by Leonardo da Vinci. And this would be that revised image that this devil Sallman created. But it's still going back into white supremacy, right? Let me go here. It said the likeness. Likeness, right? Likeness of the images. It says a representation. It says a picture or image right here, especially a portrait. Going back into this devil, he painted the likeness of the so-called white man. All right, they painted them to look like the Messiah, to look like them, but that's not the description that we have. And when he was on the earth, he was a so-called black man. And the description in the scriptures is him being a so-called black man. All right, so why when you put the description of him as the Bible states? Because you a devil and because you have deceived the masses of these simple-minded, monkey-minded people, man. All right, especially our people, they on a whole nother stupidity. All right, so let me go here and pull another scripture. Let's go here. One second. That's second Esdras 8:27. It says, regard not the wicked inventions. So they created this, like he said he had a dream of bugged out, man. Bugged out. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen. The so-called white man invented this image. But the desire of those that keep thy testimonies in affliction. So we ain't catching complete hell because these devils can lie to the world and these people gonna fall for it, man. All right. That's a form of us getting afflicted because the truth is not being taught. All right, we're afflicted by that. Let's go to in this word invention. All right. Let's go here. This heavy. It says number 2. It said a product of the imagination. A product of the imagination. And these images come from the so-called white man imagination, what he conjure up in his mind. Starting with this devil Leonardo da Vinci, down to this devil here, man. This devil Warren Sallman. All right. The latest devil in this line of devils, right? Let's go to the description of the Messiah in the scriptures and let's see if this lines up, right? And it's not long hair, abomination, right? You know what I'm saying? So they made the Messiah. This is called blasphemy, man. They made him a so-called white man with long effing goat hair, right? Ain't nothing like the scriptures say. All right, this is the book of Revelations 1:14. Let's go. Matter of fact, let me pull this whole chapter real quick. 1 second. 1 second. All right, this is the book of Revelations 1:1. The revelation of Yahweh HaMashiach, which Yahweh gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must surely come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. All right, so this is the revelation or revealing of Yahweh HaMashiach. If one of these revealings will be his description. All right. 1:13, the book of Revelations 1:13. In the midst of 7 candlesticks, one like this unto the Son of Man. What is the Son of Man? Yahweh, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and a girt about the paps with a golden girdle. 14. So this is his real description, not what the so-called white man conjured up in his imagination. His head and his hairs were white like wool. So if you go into another read on this, it is said the hair on his head was white like wool. And who's the only people on this earth known for woolly hair? If you go look up a definition, an old definition of wool, it'll go back to so-called black people, right? It'll say Negro curled hair, right? So white like wool, it had white woolly hair, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. 15, this is very important. So why didn't the so-called white man put this image up? If he said white woolly hair, why is this up? They go to show you that this is a false image, and this is nothing but a lie. This is nothing but the figment of the so-called white man imagination, this devil. All right. So let's go back here. His 15, his feet like unto fine brass. All right. So your feet is going to be the same color the rest of your body is, man. All right. Unto fine brass as if they burned in a furnace. So when you put some in a furnace, it's going to turn dark, right? So he was a dark brown skinned man. All right. The Messiah. And his voice as the sound of many waters. So this is not the description that you was given. You was given this, the false Messiah, all right, the idol, all right, the figment of the so-called white man imagination. And our people still can't get this. It's 2023, and our people still under this hell of a spell called Christianity. Let's go here. Salakia. Let's go to the book of Daniel 10 and 6. So this is going to give you another description of the Messiah. Gonna be the same thing. The book of Daniel 10 and 6. His body also was as like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as the lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like into the color of polished brass. We're gonna break this down. So his arms and his feet was like unto the color of polished brass. And that's a cut on you crazy ass Christian that say he ain't have no color. Or color don't matter. Color is a part of everything we do. Right? Feet like unto his arms and his feet like unto the color of polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. He had a loud, austere, commanding voice. So let's go to this Daniel 10 and 6 and go to this word. I'm going to show you something. All right, give me 1 second. All right, got this Daniel 10 and 6 pulled up. I'm going to go to this color of polished brass. And I'm going to show you something that's very, very revealing. Let's go to this polished brass. Go to this word polished. It says burnish, polish. Let me show you something. I already got it pulled up. So we're going to go to this word burnish. I'm going to show you something. All right. So the word burnish, right, when you go to the root of the word, the origin goes back to Old French. And look what you got. Brown. Brown. It says make brown. Let's go to the etymology of the word burnish. It says burnish. It says polished by friction from Old French burnish. Present particle stem of burn. Let's go here. Let's get straight to the point. It says right here, bright brown. Bright brown. It says brown. So the Messiah had a glow, which they would call it the aura around him, and he was a brown, dark brown skin, right? All right, that was this description, right, in the book of Revelation and in the book of Daniel 10 and 6, a dark brown skinned man, all right? So let's get back into this again. So the color unto polished brass, which we know that means burnish, which means brown brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. All right. So again, this wouldn't when you was given, right? So I'm running out of time. Right. Call Allah Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah by Hashem, Rakak Wadash. Shalom.